Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am going to do a quick little flip through of my finished December daily album for 2020. This album is a life crafted album from Citrus Twist, this glorious red color. I was a tiny bit worried about whether I was going to be able to fit a year's worth of December daily into an album like this. I normally work at 6x8. I don't think I've ever done any size other than 6x8, so I was a tiny bit apprehensive to start off with about downsizing into this smaller album. I have seen people fill 2 or 3 of these albums for one season. That's not my style. I only want one album. I don't have the shelf space to do multiple albums per year. To be honest, we don't do enough stuff to fill multiple albums per year. So I really wanted to get it all into this. So my kind of general motto for this year was less bulk, keeping things simple, still adding texture and interest where I could, but without adding as much kind of interactivity or big bulky pages as I normally would add. So that too made me a little bit apprehensive. Would it be boring? Would I enjoy the process as much? And the answer was yes, I did enjoy it. I had a great time. I love how this turned out just as much as any other album that I've made. One of the things that helped me sort of get to that place was I went back through some of my older December daily albums and just had a look at a more simple style that I started off with a few years ago, and as I've progressed through the time, my albums have gotten a little bit more elaborate, so I went back to some of those simpler ones and kind of just grounded myself in those techniques that I used to use, enjoy, and like the results of. And I'm glad I did. It gave me a few ideas for this album, and I love how it turned out. Now I have posted a few different process videos here on my channel from this album. I will link the playlist up above here. That does have all of my previous process videos in it as well. But a great deal of this album took place over on my Patreon page during our 12 days of Craftmas. So if there's anything, tutorials that you would have wanted to see through this, do consider signing up next year. I do most of these albums over there on my Patreon page. So the first thing that was over there as well was this really glorious little chunky charm that I made. I love it. It's super hard to show you when I'm doing it flat on the desk like this, but I love, oopsie. I love the noise it makes. I love the jingle. It's got little bells, it's got pom-poms, it's got charms. It's got polymer clay, it's got bows, it's just got all the bits and pieces, and I love it. I love the noise it makes. It has been super festive having that out, jingling around on my desk when I've been working in my album. And then we get started. So my intro page sort of started out as a little bit of a worrisome thing for me last year. I didn't get a title page done. It was kind of haunting me the whole month. I was focusing too much on it being kind of perfect. We all know that doesn't happen. When I did eventually do it, I love it, but I didn't want that to be what happened this month, last year. And so I made sure that I got this title page done right at the start of the month. I had all of my supplies out this year, organized in the top of one of my little craft carts, and I think that was like a major success for getting things done. I was seeing those supplies, I was being excited about using them, so that is definitely a strategy I will be using again rather than having everything tucked away. I do prefer things a little bit on the tidier side in my room, especially when I'm filming for you guys, but having everything in that cart really did help, including my title page, because all of these sort of 3 elements just happened to be kind of stacked up against each other in the cart. I decided I loved it, and that's what I went with. So I've got a little semicircle title page with this scallop circle flipper here, and when I flip that over, I just typed my kind of reason why on the back of here, added a little stamp. I did back the scalloped paper so that you could see, wouldn't just see the background of the paper here. And then I've got this kind of divider page, I guess. This is felt. Like I said, I wanted to add a little bit of texture in here. It's got a wee bit of stitching around the edge, and then I glued on a chipboard and a little sparkly bow, and that is kind of like the divider page between my title and the rest of my album. I did just have to add this little piece of vellum in here. That's a Hey Santa vellum. I loved it. It's just the epitome of everything I wanted, all the colors I wanted in this album this year, and I love it so much, so I had to add a sheet in here. Now, I did do a lot of kind of just freeform pages, but there are some page protectors in here. This is one of the Citrus Twist Life Crafted page protectors. It has a 4x6 slot at the top and a little 2x4 slot at the bottom. I added some sequin mix that I made myself to match Hey Santa, and I sort of covered up the edge of the page protector with some washi tape and just added a grid photo. This is me taking a few random photos for my 12 Days of Craftmas intro. And then I did the journaling on the back and just added a really simple kind of like embellishment. These were printables. I didn't have the actual die cut pack from Hey Santa at the point that I made this page. So I used the printable version and just added some stitching on there to tie in the stitching that I stitched my little sequin pocket shut. Again, just tiny bits of texture here, there, and everywhere. Now, my transparent fa la la page was definitely a process video here on YouTube, and it also used a printable from Citrus Twist, and that is in one of the full page protectors. This page is also a tutorial here on YouTube. I made sure to kind of get a little bit of coffee in this album using a template that I made myself in Silhouette Studio and then stitched on my sewing machine. This was one of my favorite pages of the whole album. I love the simplicity of it, and I love, again, that little bit of texture. I used a printable from Citrus Twist and just altered that a little bit. I think it was a 2x4 maybe, tag, a digital tag, and I altered that to be a traveler's notebook sized page so that I could add just a little graphic of the Spotify playlist that I was listening to for most of December. I added this 2x2 grid page protector, and that has photos of all of my little Santa mug collection, which increased again this year. It's one of my favorite things to do, buy myself a little Christmas mug each year. And then on the back of that, I have a spread about my present wrapping. I used a large full-size photo, which I trimmed into 2x2 squares to pop into the page protector. And then I pulled out 3 of those photos and added in 3 little samples of my wrapping paper that I used. And then this is a printable from In a Creative Bubble. When I sat down to finish off this album, this was one of those pages, and Geraldine's shop was actually shut at the time, so I didn't have any of her new printables. This one is, I think, from last year, but I made sure that I did that all digitally. I made sure that my photo was going to fit, but I actually printed my journaling out so it was all going to fit and be super simple to finish off. This is another page that has a process video here on YouTube. A couple of these little stickers did fall off, so I had to glue them on, especially these teeny little Hey Santa ones, the puffy stickers. They had a little bit less stick by the time I had flipped this album 3 or 4 times, so I have glued those down. And then on the back of here is just a little page about my Christmas tree. A story about how crazy I am. I put my Christmas tree up at the start of December. I didn't love the lights that were on it. They were colored, and I had kind of made a rainbow tree. The lights did not suit that tree. So I took it down and got some new lights and put it all back up again. So I know, crazy, but it filled me with joy for the rest of the month, so I'm thinking it was worth it. This page is totally inspired by Shara Crane and her gorgeous little stitched sequins on there. So everything else is super, super simple. This journaling card with my journaling on it has a little transparency over the top. It's been in my stash for years and years and years. I think it's from an old Studio Calico December Daily kit. I honestly don't know where it's from, but it was perfect. Finally got to use it. I love how simple and sparkly this page is. That was one of those things that I really wanted to attain in this album. Simple, that was my motto, but I wanted texture and sparkle, and I got it. So on the back of here was another really simple little page. I did a whole bunch of kind of rainbow ombre stitching with my sewing machine, added a photo and then a few little puffy stickers to celebrate my gorgeous little nephew Jack and his December kind of Santa-y themed photo. And then on this page, I used another one of those 2x2 page protectors just to document a few of the kind of decoraty pieces that I had done in my studio here. So I took a few little 2x2 photos. The other two pockets have a different sequin mix in them. And then I used some papers from Rosie Studios to fill in those other pockets. The same thing repeats on the back side. I've used the same pattern papers. Obviously you can still see the sequins, and I've got a few more photos, and then this little card I popped in here just to add my journaling. I've added one of the Rosie Studio papers just to tie it together a little bit, and added my journaling and some stamping. These stamps were from Rosie Studio as well. I had to repeat them a couple of times to get that kind of tree effect, but I just like that it adds that kind of minty color in there as well. So on the back of here I have a little 3x4 pocket with some cute little photo of Lil, one of the journaling cards from the Sparkle and Joy kit from Citrus Twist. This is a little mini die wreath from Rosie Studios, so I've repeated that a couple of times. I've got a kind of circle motif going on here. And this was a little pocket page. When I made this at the start of the month, it was one of my kind of like page ideas that I made. I sat down and made a bunch of them, and then towards the end of the month when I did this page, I needed to alter it. I needed to make it smaller so that it fit the back of this card. So I just trimmed it down and then re-stitched the pocket with my sewing machine, and that just hides a little bit of journaling in there. It's not the best journaling, so I kind of didn't want to have it super prominent, and instead I've popped it behind this really fun pocket. So on the back side of the 3x4 page protector, I have got a photo of my holiday cookie baking and just a little bit of journaling, again on a journaling card from Citrus Twist. I did add a tiny piece of pattern paper. This is from the Stamp Market, and that was from the December add-on kit from Citrus Twist. I just wanted to tie these two pages together. I made a little photo strip with the cookie baking process, so that does kind of tie it together. This was a cut file that I made for my patrons, so that inside there's a little pocket, and that is where I hid all of the cookie recipes that I made, or at least I intended to make. So I've got them all in one place. I kept coming back to this folder every time I wanted to make some cookies, and I've got all the recipes in there. So on the back of this page, this was kind of just a little filler in page because you will have seen me do this page here on YouTube. I trimmed down one of those 2x2 page protectors, so it was just kind of it reminds me of like a little photo strip, but much easier to achieve. And then on the back of there, I kind of didn't know what to put. So I took some bokeh photos of my sparkle lights at night. I didn't really want to add anything too much on here because this page was super busy as it was, and because so much of it is visible, this kind of acts like one spread. So all I did was add a puffy sticker word that says sparkle. That was from that Sparkle and Joy kit from Citrus Twist, and it kind of relates to this photo, but then the placement of it is pretty much hidden so that when this is open, it doesn't distract from the kind of Santa photos with the ho ho ho. Now on the back of here was my little gingerbread house. So again, you've seen the process for this here on YouTube. This is another one of those 4x6 and 2x4 page protectors. So on the back of that, I just filled in with another pretty photo of my tree. There's plenty of tree photos in here. I added a little die cut from the Sparkle and Joy kit onto a pattern paper. It's just a simple grid, and added a tiny little bit of journaling, and that was that simple page. Now this was another one of the kind of page ideas that I made at the start of the month, and I stamped out Mary, and it says making spirits bright, and then I stitched around there with my sewing machine, and I just had this little fold out flap, and I didn't know what I would end up putting on there. In the end, I've got a little photo of me and my buddy Jack when he came to stay. We had a bit of an arty time, so I added a second photo on the inside and then a little bit of journaling. On the back of that, another photo with my fave people here. This again was a process video here on YouTube with a cut file and just trying to tie these two pages together. It's a pretty busy photo, wasn't the best, mall lighting, not great. Just tying these two pages together with a little bit of pattern paper. Now on the back of here, again, a little Santa photo visit. This whole next section is about me and Jack, really. We went to see Santa, and I do have like the full-blown proper photo of this, and I might end up making that into a layout later on, but I had shared these photos with my patrons, and I had zoomed in on his little very unimpressed face, and so I decided to put that in my album instead of the full page photo, because I think this story is far funnier than just showing the photo with Santa. So there is a little bit of journaling in here. It's just hidden in behind those photos, and this was another one of those page ideas that I had created, this page that looked a little bit like a paint chip. Again, I didn't know how that would work out, and I just added this photo cluster on top, and it worked perfectly. This is another, it's actually a full page page protector, but I had this landscape photo and I wasn't really sure how I was going to pop this into my album as a landscape. That's the only thing that I like mildly struggle with these life crafted albums, is on the odd occasion that I do remember to take a landscape photo. I don't really have a lot of ideas for how to put them in. So this was one that I kind of took off a printable journal card from In a Creative Bubble. It was a 3x4 card that had all of these stripes and a little sentiment at the bottom. So I recreated it with pattern papers, added my photo in, and then just used some alphas to add my sentiment at the bottom. And again, I've added just a little bit of kind of sparkle with some glittery washi tape down the side. And on the back, I have the same washi tape, and I did use one of those printable cards, but instead of printing the card, I just printed the sentiment on top of my photo and slipped it into the pocket and called that one done. During the month of December, I did experiment with a little bit of mixed media. Again, that was a process over on my Patreon page. I'm never really sure how to use those kind of mixed media pages, and I enjoy the process, but I don't necessarily enjoy the result as a big A3 sheet of mixed media paper. But when I cut these out, I used some little star dies and just stitched them onto a tag and stamped a really simple sentiment. And when you flip it over, my last photo with my little buddy Jack on the night before he left, opening one of his presents. I just love how this turned out. Super simple and super cute. Now I've got another 3x4 page protector with a photo of cherries. Here in the Southern Hemisphere, summer for Christmas. It's definitely not December unless there's a bowl of cherries around, and so just about every album has this sort of photo in it. So I kept it super simple and added a little shaker card in here. This was one I made last year and had in my stash, so that was even simpler. I didn't actually need to do anything except slip it into the pocket. And on the back of there, I just made sure that I documented the fact that after the intense joy of having my favorite little guy come to stay for a while, it left me feeling really flat, really blah when they left. And I'm not going to gloss over that in my album either. I just listed out a few things. These are some stamps from Kelly Stamps. I just ombre stamped them. Wrote out a little bit of list journaling. It's my favorite kind of journaling, especially when I'm writing about not great stuff. And then I moved right on to this cut file here, which I made for our December Patreon live stream. The patrons helped me create this cut file page and totally cheered me up, I will say. And so when I finished the live stream, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with this cut file. And so in the end, I just put a huge photo on the back of it of me with our live stream, and added a few sort of alpha stamps on here. And then I tucked a little bit of journaling on a tag and popped that in between the cut file and the giant photo, so that I had the journaling, but it wasn't overwhelming an already pretty busy page. Now, towards the end of the month here, I got really slack with the photo taking. It's just me and Shane for Christmas, and so I tend to spend more of the time kind of enjoying the days rather than documenting them, and so the few photos that I had went in here. I've got a 3x4 page protector again, a little printable from Citrus Twist with a photo of me and Lil, and I just added a puffy sticker. I did add that on top of the page protector, and it hasn't come off at all. I just like the fact that the kind of texture is a little bit different and it's not pushing that pocket up at all. And on the back of here, documenting our Christmas Eve with our sort of menu, the list of things that we ate. The photo wasn't great, so I made it black and white so as not to kind of overwhelm this really simple card from Citrus Twist. I love the pink and the red, bit of a theme in here as you can see. And then I added Nom Nom up the top as kind of a title. Another one of these 4x6 and 2x4 page protectors. This was again just another printable from Citrus Twist. It's just happened that I kind of had this blank page because I wanted, I didn't want this bright blue photo in here to kind of be sitting on this side of the spread, and so I added this as kind of just a filler page. Same thing really, it's a printable. I've added a few puffy stickers and then a couple of bits of pattern paper down the bottom, sort of like an intro into Christmas Day, which was mostly spent puzzling and watching Netflix and eating our delicious Christmas dinner. So that is pretty much the album done. I added my 4x6 photo, my little journaling with some alphas as a title, and I just slipped a piece of pattern paper in here so as not to kind of overwhelm things. And the last page, I added a 3x4 journaling card with my photo, and I added that onto a piece of vellum, which is very hard to see, but I added a sentiment, "'Tis the season to be jolly," and repeated that again and again and again. I just did that in Photoshop and printed that onto my vellum so that I had a really subtle kind of pattern for both sides. And to end it, rather than having the back of the journaling card, I just added a journaling card from one of the cut apart sheets from Hey Santa, added the same bit of tape, and called my album finished. So although I don't do this album on the daily, I definitely don't tell daily stories. I keep this album to be mostly holiday related. Everyday stories get told in Project Life, and so sometimes I worry that I'm not going to have enough to fill an album like this, but as you can see, it's perfectly full. There was more than enough holiday related stories to tell in here to fill a whole album and to just keep me enjoying December, which I always do. One of my favorite parts is always sitting down and making these pages for these albums and having them to look back throughout the years. So that is just a really quick look at my album. Like I said, I will link the playlist in the description and up here for all of those process videos. I hope that you have enjoyed your December as well. I hope you've enjoyed looking through here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again really soon. Bye!